There were two instances where protesters were in the crowd. You can hear them chanting something. And at one point you hear these protesters say something about deportations, 3 million deportations, 3 million deportations. And so they're specifically referring to the number of deportations under Biden. So I know I'm switching gears here a little bit to the control room, but I actually want to start with video 8B first. Let's take a look.
To reunify the families, the 3 million that were deported under the Biden and Obama administration, to bring them back with their families. They say that all this stuff is happening now, but there was 3 million deportations under their watch. And they're not saying anything, they don't admit to it. They want to say that this crisis is just now, but it's been going on for years. There is 3 million deportations under the Obama and Biden administration. Everybody wants to be hush-hush about it. Democrats aren't talking about the real issues here. We have families that were separated. We're here in the city of Detroit. We're a border city. Our families and communities are under attack here, and no one's looking at it that way. So we want something that's going to be right for the families, for our citizens here, for everybody who's here. Immigrants or not, we all belong here, and they need to make a plan that makes it work.
So those were the protesters who you could hear in the crowd. TYT caught up with them and managed to get their perspective. And I'm going to show you a few moments from the actual debate. But just to give you some more context, the movement is known as Movimiento Cosecha?
Oh yeah, Cosecha. Yeah.
Yes, so I just want to make sure I pronounce that correctly. And so there were some very heated moments between Julian Castro and Joe Biden over this issue, which is kind of fascinating because, look, Castro was the head of HUD under the Obama administration, so I understand that his responsibilities had nothing to do with immigration, but they're both part of Obama's administration. And Obama was dubbed deporter-in-chief for a reason. Many people were deported under his watch. And so let's go ahead and take a look at video 8. This was one of the moments between Castro and Biden on the topic of these deportations.
The secretary, we sat together in many meetings. I never heard him talk about any of this when he was the secretary.
Please be respectful. Please be respectful in the crowd. Please continue, Mr. Vice President.
The fact is, I don't know if you can hear, I can hear, but anyway.
We can hear fine, Mr. Vice President. Please continue if you would.
The fact is, what the senator from New York talked about is seeking asylum. That woman, the women she spoke to are entitled to asylum. That is not crossing the border illegally. What we should do is flood the zone to make sure we have people to make those decisions quickly. With regard to the secretary's point, I already proposed and passed $750 million for Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras to be able to change the circumstance why people fled in the first place. In addition to that, we're in a circumstance where if in fact you say you can just cross the border, what do you say to all those people around the world who in fact want the same thing to come to the United States and make their case, but they don't, that they have to wait in line? The fact of the matter is you should be able to, if you cross the border illegally, you should be able to be sent back. It's a crime.
I'm so glad we played that because that's what I was going to refer to. He answered the question. The 3 million deportations, I didn't challenge it because I'm still okay with it. That was what he said now, you know? So it's just he didn't want to say it right then because it was on the spot of saying, did you support it? Sure, I supported it. You just don't want to say that because it'll make you look bad and it'll be in the news cycle. That's what he was trying to avoid. And that's all that matters to him, at least to him in these debates, not to deep thinkers that are looking for a way to assess the field. He's just looking to avoid disaster.
The fact that Biden ended that statement with a Trumpian talking point of they're breaking the law, they should be sent back. How is that going to play well with a party that has, without a question, moved to the left? A party that's disgusted with the treatment of immigrants under the Trump administration. So Castro called him out on that. You're right, he answered the question. But in my opinion, it was another example of him, really failing to show that he would take a leadership role as president, that he would think differently about these issues. He would change the narrative around some of the most divisive policy issues in the country. It's just, he was flailing. In my opinion, that's the way he seemed. And it wasn't just on the topic of immigration, it was on everything from criminal justice reform to healthcare. I mean, he was really struggling. And Castro's about to call him out, but I wanted to see if you guys had anything else.
Well, briefly, I know Cosecha. I've spoken to Vera Para and many of the activists at Cosecha. Just a few weeks ago, when I was in Philadelphia, they occupied Biden's headquarters. They have been on this for a long time. They're not Johnny-come-latelys to this. They were calling out the Obama administration in real time in 2012, 2011. And in fairness to Castro, he was not in the Obama administration in the first term when really a lot of the more extreme kind of deportations happened. You know, about 6 years in, they had DACA and all of these things that changed sort of the priority order for which immigrants would actually be deported. So Castro's a little bit off the hook there.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. And to his credit, immigration is the issue that he's really decided to take on, and I respect that because it's not an easy topic to talk about with all the fear mongering that's going on right now. But with that said, let's take a look at what Castro had to say in response to Biden's statements about immigration policy.
It looks like one of us has learned the lessons of the past and one of us hasn't. Let me begin by telling you. Let me just start out by answering that question. My immigration plan would also fix the broken legal immigration system because we do have a problem with that. Secondly, the only way that we're going to guarantee that these kinds of family separations don't happen in the future is that we need to repeal this law. There's still going to be consequences if somebody crosses the border. It's a civil action. Also, we have 654 miles of fencing. We have thousands of personnel at the border. We have planes, we have boats, we have helicopters, we have security cameras.
Castro,
what we need are politicians that actually have some guts on this issue.
That was a strong moment for Castro.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's one of those moments like, okay, I don't think that many people see him as winning the whole thing, but say he becomes President Castro, then there'll be one of those things that'll be hung up on to make sure he's really doing something about it. Because then once you're there, it's one of those promises that need to be fulfilled. Some guts to do something about it. Then once he's in office, if something doesn't happen for whatever reason, it's gonna come back to that statement. You have to back that up.
Absolutely.
It's a bold thing to do, and it's tough, and do it.
The TYT Plus app is now available on iOS and Android. Download to get more TYT content at tyt.com/app.